Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I of course am the FPL Train, and in today's video we're on game week 10 and we're going to be looking at what possible transfers we could look at ahead of this game week. Of course there'll be just like as always 3 transfers to choose from: a defender, midfielder and a forward. But before we go into those 3 transfers, we're going to look back on the previous transfers. So of course I am back off holiday, so we can look at that. And they of course are Aït-Nouri, McNeil and Raúl Jiménez. First thing I would like to say about all 3 of these players, they all played. So that was obviously a concern before I did the video, because obviously I went away. I didn't know what was going to happen in game week 8. Looking if they all stayed, available for game week 9. And of course, starting us off, we've got Aït-Nouri, who did pretty well, let's just say. He got 6 points overall, could have been better. Obviously, he did get a yellow card against Brighton, cracking game. But yeah, he did get a yellow card. Obviously, conceded 2 goals as well, so that was another point. Obviously, conceded. So instead of getting, 8 points, he did end up with 6. But, he got the goal, which, if you went for Aït-Nouri, 4.6, now 4.7 million. Obviously, you've been absolutely buzzing that. I don't have him in my team, which is a bit frustrating now, because I really do wish I went for him. But yeah, 6 points overall from him. So yeah, if you went for him, you'll be buzzing your tits off. Now with the midfield change, now this one was pretty disappointing in Dwight McNeil, who is currently now flagged up with a knock, but I'm sure he will play against Southampton in game week 10. So yeah, he did blank against Fulham at home, which was disappointing. Played 85 minutes. It was a score draw, but unfortunately he didn't get any goals or assists in that game. But if you are frustrated with it, all I can say is hold off. Just hold off on getting rid of him, because yes, he blanked, but he's got Southampton away in game week 10, which obviously is currently the best fixture to have right now. Southampton just seems to want to play suicide football this season, so there's a good chance he could absolutely smash it in game week 10. Unfortunately, he didn't do it in game week 9, but game week 10 does look very promising for him. So yes, he did blank, but I'm expecting better things in game week 10. And finally, Raúl Jiménez, also a player that unfortunately did blank as well. So yet again, only 1 out of 3 players, the ones I recommended, actually did quite well in the game week. Still yet, I don't think I've actually had it yet this season. I've got 2 or 3 players actually perform well that I've recommended. But yeah, at least 1 did. So yeah, disappointing in Raúl Jiménez, especially the form he's been on. He's been in cracking form in the first, well, not the first 4 games. He didn't start the first 3, sorry. But after game week 4, he got 5 returns in a row. So yeah, unfortunately, the end of that streak has happened, especially against Everton. I did think he was going to score. He did play 90 minutes as well. Obviously, Fulham did score, but, I don't think many people had Iwobi in their team. So, yeah, again, like McNeil, he blanked as well. Obviously, they're playing each other as well that game. But, yeah, he did blank. No assists either in that game. It was a bit disappointing, but, a bit like, McNeil, I wouldn't get rid of this guy either, because his fixtures for the next 3 anyway aren't exactly, well, I'd say next 5. So you think about it, Brentford at home, Brentford are a good team. They seem to be conceding goals all the time. Crystal Palace have looked weak this season. Wolves have also looked weak, and it's his old team. And he's got likes of Spurs and Brighton, who, again, they're pretty much playing very high-risk football. So he's got a good chance in the next 5 game weeks to score in all 5 games. So, again, if you have, Raúl Jiménez, just go for the gamble in the next 5 game weeks, because yes, he didn't score in game week 9, but the next 5 game weeks looked pretty promising for him. And Fulham are looking good this season. Now then, moving on to game week 10, and the transfer that I'm going for first is bringing in Tino Livramento. Now, might be a bit of a surprise as well, maybe, 4.5 million defender, who hasn't done very well this season, I'm not going to lie. So, game week 1, he obviously did really well against Southampton, but who hasn't done well against Southampton, where he did get the clean sheet, and he did actually get a bonus point in that game week. But since then, it has been pretty poor from him, in all fairness. He hasn't really played well. Newcastle haven't been great defensively, that is for sure. He has lost his spot a few times. He's only started 6 of the 9 games this season. Now, obviously, at the minute, Kieran Trippier is out injured with a hamstring injury, so he's for sure going to be starting in the next few game weeks. Now, obviously, game week 10, you could say is an absolute nightmare fixture for him being against Arsenal, but you know, you got to think it is at home, so anything could happen. You know, Arsenal got a few injuries at the moment in their side, so you never know. But I'm not going to lie, I'm not optimistic if I was to have him in my defence for game week 10. But what I would look at going forward is after that, the fixtures aren't too bad in 11, 12 and 13. So they've got likes of Forest, West Ham and Crystal Palace. Yes, they've got Liverpool in 14, but he is only 4.5 million. So he is one of those defenders who you could just literally rotate and leave on the bench from time to time. Now, Newcastle haven't been great defensively, not going to lie. So obviously got the clean sheet in game week 1 against Southampton, and they haven't had another one since, well, game week 7, which wasn't too long ago, but that was against Everton. So far only against 2 of the weaker teams. Obviously they've got clean sheets. I do think they're going to do much better than they have. I mean, I expect better from Newcastle this season. Obviously Isak's back as well for them, so that's obviously a massive plus for them. But yeah, overall this season they have probably been a bit disappointing in terms of where they are in the league, currently 12th, but you know, it's been very open this season, not going to lie. And they have conceded 10 goals, so that's more than they actually scored so far this season, which is pretty disappointing. So you can see where the problem lies as well in the forward role for them. But you know, I do think they're going to turn their form around in the next 4 game weeks. I don't think they're going to do as well probably against Arsenal, but you know, going forward after that, I do think they could get off to a good run. And obviously, nobody's looking at Newcastle players right now, so if you get in there early, you might do pretty well. I remember I did that with Kieran Trippier last season. Obviously, absolutely smashed it when I first got him. So yeah, you never know. The same could happen with Livramento. Now with the midfield change, of course, I had to go for a Man United player right now. Obviously, they've sacked their manager in Ten Hag. At the time of recording this, they haven't got a manager just yet. But let's face it, things look like they could turn around at United. It usually does when a new manager comes in. So I had to go for a Man United player. Didn't go for Bruno because he's been a bit frustrating this season, as has obviously Marcus Rashford, who is obviously a lot more cheaper than, you know, Bruno Fernandes, 6.9 million. And the fixtures going forward, again, a bit like Newcastle, game week 10 is not going to be easy. Chelsea at home, but it is at Old Trafford, so it's going to be, I reckon, maybe a bit of a buzz. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, I'm not, you know, I've recorded this before the Carabao Cup game against Leicester City tonight, so I don't know how that's going to go. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, but, you know, after that, I think Chelsea at home, anything could happen. Then obviously got another home fixture against Leicester, which is a great fixture for him. Ipswich as well, and Everton, so 3 great fixtures coming up for United. Yes, he's got a tough one against Arsenal in 14, but, you know, I would target those 3 fixtures, Leicester, Ipswich and Everton with the new manager. I think he could absolutely smash it with those games. Obviously, we know what Rashford's like. He's either going to be hot or cold. Which Rashford are we going to get over the next 4 game weeks? It's going to be interesting. I mean, he could well score against Chelsea as well, because Chelsea, you know, they're a very open team. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this Manchester United team now that they've sacked Ten Hag and they're going for this new guy. So yeah, it's going to be one to watch. He's only 3.2% owned currently right now, Rashford as well. So you could get him in early there and he could absolutely smash it for you in the next 4 game weeks. Or he could absolutely burn you to death. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I do think it's worth having a Man United asset now going forward in the next few game weeks. And so finally, that leads me onto the forward change, and of course it had to be Wizard of Brentford. The guy is back from his injury, came back obviously against Man United in game week 8, only played 24 minutes then though, but he did get his first start last game week against Ipswich Town, got the goal, got the assist, got bags and bags of points, 10 points overall. So, you know, he already had an impressive start, Wizard did beforehand, but that's now 5 starts, 4 goals and 2 assists this season. So that's more goals and obviously assists a game, which is absolutely incredible. His fixtures as well are looking great going forward. Fulham game week 10, I can see him do well there. Then he's got the likes of Bournemouth at home, Everton away, Leicester at home. That is absolutely incredible. Then he does obviously have Villa in 14 away, but Villa are not keeping clean sheets at all. So yeah, it looks absolutely promising getting Wizard in. He's only 5.9 million. He's an absolute bargain. Brentford, defensively, have been a bit poor. Let's be honest. They have not been great at all. They've conceded bags and bags of goals. 3 against Ipswich, 3 against Wolves. You know, they've been pretty disappointed, to say the least, in that department. They've not actually kept a clean sheet all season, but goals-wise, they're absolutely machines. 4 against Ipswich, 5 against Wolves. Absolutely incredible. 3 against Southampton. You know, they're still scoring against the likes of Spurs, Man City. You know, the only time they haven't actually scored this season was against Liverpool. So, yeah, I would not be worried about his, obviously, goals at all with his side. They are very attacking. Fixtures look really good going forward. And Wizard has been, him and Mbumi have been incredible this season. So, yeah, with Wizard being back, he's absolutely cheap. For me, definitely worth going for. Especially as well where a lot of people are actually considering selling Erling Haaland. I mean, it might seem mental going for a Brentford player, but, you know, for pretty much half the price, you know. Well, it's more than half the price, really. But, yeah, he's absolutely an absolute bargain to go for. So, yeah, something I'm definitely looking at going forward. But Wizard looks like a shoo-in to get into your team. Him and Mbeumo absolutely smashing it this season. And I won't be surprised if they do in the next 3-4 game weeks. And that's it then for this video. Those are the 3 transfers I'm going to be recommending for Game Week 10. Livramento, obviously he's going to be quite a big gamble to go for, but he is dirt cheap. Marcus Rashford, another gamble you could say, but are Man United going to bounce back with a manager change? That's going to be very interesting to watch and worth going for. If you want to go for a different United asset, I completely understand that as well. But like Garnacho or Fernandes, that is absolutely fine. But for me, I'm definitely going to be recommending Marcus Rashford. Who knows, he could go back to that 30 goals a season, man. And of course, Wizard, back from injury, back scoring goals. Brentford look amazing attacking wise. Definitely worth looking at. Those are definitely 3 decent options, especially, you know, Wizard, in my opinion. But let me know what you think of these 3 transfers, and let me know what transfer you are thinking about doing ahead of Game Week 10. And before you go, please as well, don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.